Hello, people. I'm just going to do a short video. I'm showing you an update from Dutchsinse, 10 o'clock tonight. I think it's very urgently important, so I'm going to just show a very short video of what he's saying about it and trying to warn people out in California. And I have friends and ministry friends out there and other friends, so you guys take heed and be in preparation. So I'm just going to show this and I'm going to go. Let's see here.
We'll go over to their map, and we're going to click on tectonic plates and U.S. Oh! Well, and make a liar out of me now. Well, God bless their hearts. Look, guys, it's back. It's back. God bless them. It's back. So, this is what I've been complaining about for the past 2 to 3 days since I was showing at 4 a.m. and this thing just went blank. I was showing at 4 a.m., showing the faults, the connections between them, and then this thing flashed and all of this disappeared. And it was gone for the past 2 days, and I've been just whining and moaning and complaining that it was gone. Well, now, look, okay, now we've got it back. Well, certainly we do have a fault connecting through. They don't have the fault names on it, though. Oh, the fault names aren't coming up still. Well, we don't need the fault name. You can see it. Whatever the name, it's going through the Tehachapi Mountains all the way up to the east-northeast. You see it here. Well, this fracture line, that's the line that the earthquakes are following. Come on, it's following the faults. Look where it goes down to. It goes down to the San Andreas. So this whole thing's fracturing, and now it's pretty much a given that this to here is going to connect. And when it connects, there'll be a large earthquake, in my estimation. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm back on the 12th. I'm sorry for issuing a warning. I'm sorry it didn't hit. I'm sorry I got everybody. But I want you to be prepared. I want you to be ready. I've given you the logic behind why I'm looking for this. I've got family that lives in California, right down in the area. Family that also lives up near San Francisco. So, I mean, I've already warned them. And I've told everybody that I know that lives out there. So I want you to be prepared. I want you to understand this thing's fracturing apart. There's 2 different sections now. And we also have a 2-mile-long surface fracture that's forming. This 3D image really shows it. I wish it wouldn't freeze when I'm full screening it here, but maybe you should be able to see it now. Maybe you can. Hey, it did. It just played. Something wrong with the full screen on Twitter, apparently, or maybe on my PC, but you get the picture. 3-dimensionally speaking, this thing has fractured in 2 directions. It's 40 miles deep, 60 miles long, 60 miles wide. And when you start to see a surface fissure, and I've never had to report on a surface fissure miles wide and at least 100 feet wide, my goodness, or it looks like about 100 feet wide. Imagine how that looks. At the surface, it would look like a movie or something. It would look like one of these disaster movies where you have a 100-foot wide fissure that forms, and who knows how deep. Even if it's 5 feet deep, it would still be impressive looking. So whether it's a deep one or a shallow one, it's big enough to be seen on satellite and 2 miles long. Now you know where it is. Tower Road and A Road on the military test range, going back behind some strange facility. Wonderful. Couldn't get any more mysterious, could it? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to warn the people you know who live in California, and you tell them this. They are log jammed down at Sears Valley. No duh, right? With all the earthquakes that are still hammering away there and spreading out and fissuring the surface at this point. But there's a new push coming in. So think of it like a dam holding back water, and you have a new flux of water coming in. What's going to happen? Well, eventually it'll either break the dam or overtop it. Well, right now it's being overtopped. It's going over to Dallas, just as expected, and over into Oklahoma, just as expected. But it's such a trickle over the top, it's still being all held back behind here. And one final thing I want you to take away from this. 2.8, 2.6, 2.7. Equal distance spaced earthquakes along the creeping section of the San Andreas now. So California's moving. There's a new push coming in. There's no doubt about that. It's going to get stuck down here. The only question is, will this rupture with the large earthquake by the 11th, like I think? Night of the 11th, going into the 12th, the warning gets canceled. I'll be on every day, regardless, before and after this. I've been doing this for 10 years, or 9 years, going on 10. Year 10 is starting in December. So I hope you guys enjoy what I do. And I hope you take the time to develop an emergency kit and an emergency plan specifically for earthquakes. I mean, people tell you to do this all the time, and I know it's totally annoying, but you should at least take the time to put a few things into a bag and have it by the door. I'll give you an example. Over in Italy, a world away, 2 years ago, or 2.5, almost 3 years ago, there was a deep earthquake down below Italy. I issued a warning the day before when the deep earthquake happened. It's right here in the Tyrrhenian Sea. This is what's called the Tyrrhenian Sea, south of Rome. So a deep 5.8. We never see big, deep earthquakes over here, so it was very rare. I got on and I told everybody there's going to be a shallower, larger earthquake this week within the next several days, most likely 7 days or less. Something larger than the 5.8 is going to hit. Well, that would put it in one of the biggest earthquakes to hit Italy in decades, right? Okay, this is 2 years ago. The next day, the 7.0 earthquake, or upper 6, hit central Italy, right where we issued the warning. My viewers who live over in Italy went on BBC live and thanked us and gave us a shout out. Dutchsinse warned for this the day before. They even went and talked to the mayor of their town the day before. So my viewers slept by their doors. And when the earthquake hit, they went outside. Good, because the wall collapsed at their Italian Tuscan mansion, basically. Beautiful, not mansion, but just beautiful. You can imagine a Tuscan house in Italy. And the wall caved in. But they were ready. They were sleeping by the door, and it was only a few days' watch. So over here, if I lived there, I would be having my bag packed, my emergency kit, have it by the door or in the car. I would have a change of clothes, set of shoes set by the side of my bed. I would go about my regular life. I would take my emergency kit with me in the car if I left somewhere, and I would wait this out until the storm passes. Just like waiting for a storm or waiting for this to happen, it's only a few days' time. And when you tell the people, do not panic them, you need to tell them why this is happening. It's not just some random event. You're log jammed. It's blocked at this point, and the Pacific plate is exerting its full force into the Juan de Fuca up here, which is a lightning bolt-shaped fracture zone. Everybody's heard about it, the Juan de Fuca fracture zone, the Cascadia subduction zone, the big earthquake that's due up here. Well, this zone also pushes on North America, and North America absorbs the force, transfers it down into California. Boom, you're blocked down in Southern California. So you're getting the whole transferred force out of the Juan de Fuca, hammering into Southern California right now. That's what's happening. It's locked and loaded, pushing into the plate. And where's it coming from? It's coming from the West Pacific. So Californians, you can watch to the west to see what's coming your way, like a flowing river or a flood that's coming your way. And that should remove some of the mystery of earthquakes. Now that you understand it flows like a fluid and it's coming from somewhere else and it's heading to you, well, now you can watch for it to head your way. So what do you watch for? Deep earthquakes in the West Pacific, spreads of the same sized earthquakes heading up, around, and over and down into the U.S. Once you start seeing that happen, you know it's go time on the West Coast. It's just that simple. And the bigger the earthquakes are that are coming your way, of course, the bigger the earthquakes are that are going to reach you. There's a transfer of force that goes up around the plate, following the plate boundary. You can see it here on the map now. All the same sized earthquakes. This isn't me doing anything with just, selecting certain numbers of earthquakes to show. This is the full reported magnitudes for the past 2 to 3 days from the USGS and EMSC. If you don't see the stepping stone path going up and around at this point, I can point it out to you more, but it's all the same sized earthquakes. That's not a coincidence. So when all these 4s and 5s spread across a plate and head to a certain spot and then get stuck, imagine the combined total of all those 4s and 5s and deep earthquakes adding up to a single point and pushing it and getting stuck. And that's what's happening in Southern California now, okay? So it's pretty simple to understand the basic principles behind it, but, explaining it to people can be a little hard. When you warn people, don't just say, big earthquake's coming, because people they want to know why. It's just like a storm, right? Big storm's coming. Well, where's it coming from? Why is it coming? Where did it come from? Come from the West Coast? Is it coming from the North? We have tornadoes. Is it just going to be hail? Right? You don't just warn for a storm. You warn for specifics and you tell people why, just like in meteorology. The other thing I would remind everybody to do is to also check up on elderly and disabled, and to also think of your pets if you have any. A lot of times people overlook emergency plans for disabled and elderly, and of course your loved one, your pets, that you would at least have a few things set aside for them. And maybe if you have neighbors, you would check on them. I'm just reminding you of a few basic things that people kind of forget to do. So especially in the summer in California, God forbid anything bigger hits, but you could get cut off without water for a while or power. And in the summer, you know what that means. So you need to be at least set up for that. And that would just be for day 1 or day 2 for water. So, I mean, we're not talking about huge storage gallons of water, just, the basics to get you through first couple days after an event happens. And you'll be way better off than everybody else who's just too cool to prepare. You know how it is. I'll go riot. I've had so many people tell me, I'll just go hit the store like everybody else. It's like, yeah, well, you're going to get there, and either A, someone else is going to have hit it before you, or B, the store will be completely collapsed and burning, and you won't be able to get in, or C, you'll be fighting with some other person who's thinking the same thing you are, and you'll be ending up in a bad situation over a loaf of bread, which is not wise when you can, of course, have your water and food set up in the days beforehand. Now that you know that you can be warned days beforehand. All right, peace out, guys. We're going to save this as a video over on YouTube at some point. And let me tell everybody, please subscribe. I know everybody asks you to do that, but I'm trying to grow my channel on YouTube still. And it's really actually doing pretty well. We're at 330,000 subscribers, 1.9 thousand in YouTube right now. I know a few of you are not subscribed, so hit it. And please, actually, share the information. More important than subscribing to me. I mean, I'll be here, whatever. You guys share the info. If you have to call somebody, you just have to email. You can leave me out of it. Just let them know, however you have to do it. And also, let's give a huge shout out to everybody over on Twitch. Man, Twitch has come through for firsthand reporting of earthquakes. If you guys want to get the info, I mean, you can watch the Twitch chat, but to actually be chatting with everybody, you have to be a subscriber over on Twitch. But they're sharing information that's getting out before it makes it to the news, like the Fishers. The Fisher information was sent to me by people before it hit CNN, before it hit the mainstream. That's coming in the chat room, even when I'm not here. So everybody over on Twitch, word up, and we'll be back. Look out for my video on YouTube in just a little bit, explaining this Fisher and everything else. Peace out.
Okay, people. I've been kind of singing tonight, so my voice kind of out. So anyway, but I just wanted to come and share that with you guys. So you guys have a wonderful night. I will try to put a few links in the description box if I get a chance here. But you guys have a blessed night. Shalom, shalom. Bye bye.